Over the last 50 plus years, the Z sports car has attracted many enthusiasts to Nissan showrooms for its appealing combination of performance, handling, capability, and affordability. It all started back in 1969 with the original 240Z, the Datsun 240Z, a design that still turns a lot of heads within the hearts of many enthusiasts across the world. Now, over the years, Nissan has made the Z better by improving the power, the handling, the capability. However, the Z was left out in the sun for a little bit too long with the previous generation, which hadn't been fully redesigned since 2009. Thankfully, Nissan has rectified that with an all-new version of the Z coming for 2023. This time, this model is simply called the Nissan Z, and as you can see from the design, it takes a lot of styling cues from Zs of the past. It has a silhouette from the original Datsun 240Z, it has the half-moon shape in its LED headlights, similar to the original Z, and the rear reminds us a lot of the 300ZX from the early 90s. So today, I'm actually out here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with Nissan to finally get behind the wheel of the new Z. We're gonna actually launch the vehicle, we're gonna take it out on a road course, and we're also gonna drive it out on the road, because the big question I wanna answer, if you guys are looking for a classic rear-wheel drive sports car with a manual transmission and standard 400 horsepower under the hood for under $40,000, was this all-new 7th generation Z worth the wait? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, before we get started with the video, I'm excited to announce that we are once again working with Omaze to offer you this chance to win this custom-built DeBerti Ford Bronco. That's right, I'm talking about the real Bronco, not the mall-crawling Bronco Sport. This is the one that's built off of a fully boxed frame. It's a 4-door wild track model. Now, DeBerti takes it a step further by including some off-road upgrades like additional skid plates, upgraded suspension, 37-inch tall BF Goodrich all-terrain tires, an upgraded Gibson exhaust, KC light bars, and of course a Smitty-built winch for those of you who go a little too far off the beaten path and need a little bit of help. By entering for a chance to win, you'll help support a great cause like the Warrior Built Foundation by going to omaze.com/RRBronco. The Warrior Built Foundation seeks to honor combat veterans and wounded service members who served our country by providing them with vocational and recreational therapy through experiences working with mechanics and vehicle modifications, and by going on recreational adventures around the country. So what are you waiting for, guys? For a chance to win this custom DeBerti Ford Bronco and support a great cause like the Warrior Built Foundation, please be sure to go to www.omaze.com/RRBronco for a chance to win. And now, let's get back to the video. Before we talk about the exterior styling of the completely redesigned Z, I want to first pop the hood and show you what's powering this thing, because this is a sports car. Everybody wants to know how much horsepower is it packing. Well, for 2023, Nissan is continuing to offer only one engine in this vehicle, and this is the same engine that we first saw on the Q50 and Q60 Red Sports, the company's 3-liter twin turbocharged direct injection V6 with variable valve timing. This motor is known internally as the VR30 DDT. It's a really great engine that they first introduced back in 2015. In this car, it makes the same power as the Red Sport, 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. Now that's an increase of about 68 horsepower versus the old naturally aspirated 3.7-liter VQ motor. Now this motor, Nissan says they have updated it compared to the engine in the Infiniti. They've updated the internals, they've also updated the turbos to give us slightly quicker turbine spooling for this vehicle to increase the responsiveness of it. And the boost pressure is right just under 15 PSI, about 14.7 PSI. So this is a fairly good amount of power. It's more horsepower versus what you get in the 6-cylinder Toyota Supra. And keep in mind, the Supra is standard with a 4-cylinder, which has way less horsepower versus this model. Now, it all goes out through a 2 transmission choices, a 6-speed manual or a 9-speed automatic transmission. That 6-speed manual makes this car better than the Supra, although Toyota did announce that they are going to put a manual in the Supra. However, we don't know which engine it's going to have. This one here has the manual. You can also choose a 9-speed auto if you guys prefer to let the computers do the shifting for you. This vehicle remains rear-wheel drive, and if you go for the performance version like this one here, it does include a mechanical limited slip differential. Fuel economy, in case you guys are wondering, this manual model is rated at 18 in the city, 24 on the highway. Please be sure you put premium gas in it. If you guys go for the automatic, it actually improves to 1928, also using premium. This has roughly a 20-gallon gas tank. Curb weight weight, Nissan says that this is built on the same FM platform, and it only weighs about 100 pounds more. This one here, as it sits, is just under 3,500 pounds. Nissan didn't quote a 0 to 60 performance, but we're gonna take this out on a drag strip and we're gonna try it out with our 0 to 60 timer. And top speed, Nissan says this should reach a top speed of around 155 miles an hour. But let's go ahead and close the hood of this vehicle, which this car still uses a prop rod. I suspect that's to help save weight, but let's go ahead and look at the styling, because you guys first saw this concept car, the Z Proto, almost 2 years ago, which the production version looks practically identical. This particular color that I'm showing you is called Siren Blue. It's a really beautiful blue. This is probably the color that I would choose for myself. Nissan also offers a beautiful red, a nice yellow color. They also offer a bolder gray. The front fascia of this car definitely was controversial when it first came out. You can see the grille has this big gaping square, which a lot of people didn't really like at first. It's kind of grown on me. The headlights, you can see all Zs come standard with full LED headlights. They have a heritage design language here where you can see the LED daytime running lights have this half moon circle on the top end portion. You can see the top portion is the LED turn signal. You have LED low and high beams. No fog lights in this vehicle, but you can see it really gives it a distinctive look. The center grille, you can see that's all for cooling, because now that we have a twin turbo engine, it's got more cooling here to help allow the engine to stay in that temperature range whenever you're driving the vehicle on a track. The emblem here, you can see this is the newer Nissan logo with that kind of white outline, which makes it look nice. And then moving around the side profile, I mentioned earlier, this is still built on the FM platform. However, Nissan has updated it where they've increased the torsional rigidity and the body rigidity. It's going to give it a stiffer feel. And in terms of the overall length, the new Z is around 172.4 inches long. This vehicle is about 5 inches longer versus the previous generation 370Z. This is exactly the same length as the current generation GR Supra. Its wheelbase is 100.4 inches long and has the same wheelbase as the previous generation, but you can see it's lower, wider, it's a little bit longer. The wheels, this particular one here is the upper performance trim. There's also a base sport trim that gives you an 18-inch wheel riding on 245 tires that are square all around. This performance model gives you the 19-inch wheels with the which are Ray forged wheels. You can see these are fatter tires. You have a 255 in the front, a fatter 275 in the rear. The brakes are also upgraded on the performance trim. These are essentially the same brakes from the Nismo Z, the previous generation. It's a 14-inch rotor. You have twin piston calipers with the red paint. If you guys go for the proto spec model, which Nissan is only limiting to about 240, you'll have yellow painted calipers and bronze wheels as opposed to this dark gunmetal gray. Now you can see the rest of the side profile. You can really see a lot of the heritage in the design here, especially this silhouette over here with the silver outline. The roofline you can see is also black. It's a two-tone color. This is included on the performance trims. And the door handles, you can see kind of a variation of the previous generation. They're very traditional. They open up the traditional way. You have pillarless glass. You have the Z badge over there on that rear quarter panel, which again is a throwback to the previous generations or all the old models. And you can see the rear of this vehicle. Nissan took a lot of styling cues here from the early 90s 300ZX, which was known internally as the Z32. The rear, I think, is probably my favorite portion of this vehicle. It's just beautiful looking. I love the three-dimensional look with these full LED taillights. You can see this looks exactly like the old 300ZX. You have a modern styling, of course, with LED taillights, LED turn signals. I like the rear spoiler that you get. This performance trim includes the spoiler along with the front body kit, the rear body kit, and the side skirt. You can see the rear diffuser is slightly more aggressive on the performance trim. You also have beautiful looking dual outlet exhaust. This trim also gives you a sportier sound to the exhaust. It's a little bit freer revving, so let's go ahead and fire it up. You guys can hear what it sounds like. The exhaust definitely sounds nice. It's not quite the active exhaust that you might hear on the Supra with its burbles and crackles and pops, but those of you who think that's a little showy are going to appreciate the kind of pure sound that you get from this VR motor, which has a really nice noise to it. Now, opening up the trunk area, you can see there's a little button here right underneath the Nissan logo. This is not a power hatch. Remember, this car is going to be priced under $40,000, but you can see there is a good amount of space back here. In fact, Nissan didn't have official numbers, but the old Z was just under 7 cubic feet. This looks about the same. You can see this car doesn't come with back seats, but there is a wide amount of space here where you could easily fit a roller bag, maybe even some golf clubs and whatnot. But underneath here on this floor area, you can see there is nothing here that'll lift up. Although, one second, actually, yes, there is a little lift up portion. However, no spare tire. You just have a fix-a-flat kit there, and that's where the subwoofer goes for the Bose audio system. So now that we've talked about the exterior of the new Z, let's go ahead and hop inside the interior of this Syrian blue model. And I have to say, the blue exterior with the blue interior really gives this interior a swanky look to me. Nissan just did a really good job with the exterior and the interior design. It feels modern, it feels comfortable. It also feels like a throwback to the original Z car. Now, first getting inside and shutting the door, this is built off of the FM platform, so the door sounds exactly like the previous Z. It's a relatively solid sounding thunk. You can see here's the key fob for the vehicle. It is the typical Nissan fob here. It's an old fob, but it's a nice size. You can see very simple, just 3 buttons, lock, unlock, and panic, because remember, this is a Z, there's no power actuated trunk. Although I think that they should have included a trunk release in this model. You can see this model also has the 6-speed manual, which right now, as of this filming, you still can't get in a Supra. So to start it up, the start stop button is right here, right by the shifter. You can hear it has that typical Nissan Infiniti starter noise with that V6 it fires to life. It has a pretty good noise, and the tech in this interior obviously got a huge upgrade. The previous generation dated back to the mid-2000 era, and this one here just finally gives us the modern cabin that the Z really needs, but it also has a couple of trim pieces here that remind me of the previous generation model. The first thing I'm going to notice, let's start with the door panels. This door handle essentially comes off the previous generation. I think that Nissan should have updated this with a different color material. The door fan even looks the same. Thankfully, this is a soft touch injection molded plastic. You have really nice leather here that's blue with the Alcantara on the door panels. You can see the window controls, they're automatic up touch one down for both windows. These window control switches also feel old. These are not the newer switch gear that I've seen in the Rogue, for example, or the new Pathfinder. The steering wheel, however, is all new, and thankfully it is a nice looking wheel. I'm surprised, however, it's not a flat bottom design. You have controls, of course, for your audio control, your adaptive cruise control, which is included even on the manual transmission model. You can see the wheel itself has a manual tilt and telescoping arrangement with a good amount of adjustability, although the gauge pod, which used to move up and down with the wheel, that has been removed because it just has a completely different design, which, by the way, that instrument panel is a fully digital 12.3-inch display. It's standard on even the base model Z. Remember, this is the performance trim, and you can actually customize what this looks like. You can see I can go into this little change meter view. This is the sport view. If I go to normal, you can see it changes the look of this, where I have the driver assist information in the center. You have the same size tach and speedometer over to the left and the right. And then if you push this button again, you can also change the view and go to an enhanced setting, which looks like the last Nissan Rogue and Pathfinder, where it puts this really interesting counter-rotating tach and speedo on the left and the right, and then it gives you more information there if you guys would prefer to have that. I really like in a sports car to have it in the sport view. But again, the fact that Nissan gave us a fully digital display here makes it look a lot more modern. Over here on the center screen, you can see this is Nissan Connect, their latest infotainment system. The performance trim gives you the larger 9-inch display, and it does include wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can see my phone is already connected. It's really quick, snappy, and responsive. You can also go back to the home screen if you'd like by pushing that button, and that'll take you back to the Nissan Connect system. There's also embedded GPS, although most of you will probably end up using your phone anyways. This here looks really nice. If I put the car into reverse, you can see you have to push down to go to reverse. There is a backup camera. It has parking sensors front and rear. It has a trajectory, which is nice. The resolution, however, isn't great. I've seen much better resolution on other newer Nissan products, but at least the screen is finally a very decent size. You can see the rest of this is relatively easy to use. I really like the large buttons. You can also go into your settings over here. There's no adjustable ambient lighting in this car, although I haven't been able to see that at night to kind of show you guys what the interior lighting would look like in the evening. I do like the dash vents over here where it's right above that. You have the traditional 3-pod gauges over here where you can see it shows a boost pressure, it shows turbo speed, and then also has a battery volt indicator, which you can also put the boost display over here in the sport display. You can also put a G-force meter, an upshift indicator, tire pressure monitoring, etc. So all of that looks fairly nice. Down here in the center console area, you can see there's just single zone automatic climate control. These dials look like they are from the previous generation or an older Infiniti. No wireless phone charging, which kind of surprised me. that it didn't have that feature. That you do have two USB charging ports there, a USB-A and a USB-C. The shifter for this has been updated, of course. There's also a 9-speed auto that has an electronic shifter. The manual itself, the clutch feels relatively on the medium side for effort. The throws for the manual also have that typical Nissan feel. They're really short throw. Reverse, you have to push down to go all the way into reverse. This is a really nice feel. We'll talk about that later on in the driving scene, and the fact that it offers a stick with this V6 makes the Z super unique, and it's also a Nissan transmission. It's not shared with any other company. You can see over here, really old switchgear for the heated front seats. No cooled seats are available. You can see there's the release for the trunk area. You have one cup holder over here. However, if you slide this back, it reveals a second cup holder. So kind of clever how Nissan did that. You have a traditional pull style handbrake for those of you who want to do those J U-turns out on the snow or in a parking lot. Push this button, you can see this lifts up. It reveals a power outlet in there. Pretty decent storage, although it is a little bit on the shallow side. And so the storage itself in this car isn't a lot, but mostly in these type of vehicles, you're not going to find too much storage. Looking over here on the glove box, you can see it's a bin style. It's damped, but it's not lined with felt. There is a fairly good amount of room in that glove compartment. The dashboard, you can see, has a soft touch injection molded plastic. Beautiful leather stitching over here. This is a hard touch cover over the airbag cover, or over the glove box. And then you can see the performance also gives you a rear view mirror that is auto dimming, although I kind of wish that Nissan had gone with a digital rear view mirror or a frameless design. Surprised that there's no LED lighting here for the map lights, but at least, unlike the Supra, you do have more headroom in this vehicle, and you can see the visibility is a little bit better. The seats, I also want to talk about that real quick. These seats look like they have been slightly updated versus the previous generation. You still have the same kind of seat controls where the driver's seat has a four-way control, which is power. You can see I can push this forward and back. I can recline the tilt. However, if you want to adjust the angle, the height of the seat, there's a manual lever over here. It's the same thing for this seat over here. I kind of wish that Nissan had given us a full power seat with cooled seats. There's perforation in here, but I can't deny that the seats are comfortable and supportive. They hold me in place nice, and in this blue color, it also looks fantastic. So here we are in the brand new 2023 Nissan Z. I have been excited to drive this car since Nissan first revealed it in New York back in August, I think, so it's been a while. And we're starting off the drive in the performance version. This is the model that more, I suspect, enthusiasts are going to go for because it gives you the limited slip diff. You also have the launch control with the 9-speed auto. This one has the 9-speed, which we'll hop into the manual later on, and we'll see what we can do, or what the car drives like on the, in the manual. And we're also going to take this out on the track and to a drag strip. But first thing I want to test out, since we're out in the desert, is the 0-60 performance. Now, this car is the first Z with launch control, factory launch control. So Nissan didn't quote a 0-60 time in this vehicle, but to activate the launch control, you put the D mode, the drive mode selector here to sport. It's just standard or sport. Pull the paddles and hold them. Push and hold the brake. Floor it. Now it says launch control. Wow, 4.12 seconds. That's, and we've got Rob's fat ass in the car adding extra weight, but 4.12 is actually pretty good. This 9-speed is a Nissan design transmission, which means it's built by Jatco, which is Nissan's transmission company. But you know what? They have really programmed this 9-speed to give you some quick shifts. It has really good response. It's got 2 more gears versus the previous generation. And that launch control was pretty effective. I mean, there was a hint of wheel spin, but I'm really happy with 4.1. We'll take it out to the drag strip later and we'll see if we can get a similar or better time, or worse time. We'll see how that goes. But I have to say, out on this road, we're heading out to a lake right now. The Z drives very nicely. This is still built on the FM platform. Nissan says that they've increased the body rigidity by almost 25%. Torsional rigidity is up by 11%. The suspension has been fully redesigned. The brakes on this model come from the Nismo Z, so these are the larger 14-inch with the 4-pot rotors. The car just actually has a really good ride quality on this smoother road. Earlier we were driving it on some choppier pavement, and it reminded me that we're in a low-slung sports car with fat 19-inch wheels. The wheels on this model here, I really like them a lot compared to the 18s that you get on the base Sport Z. But the steering in this vehicle, this is a new electric power steering assistant. Thankfully, it's not that trash direct adaptive drive or steering system from the Q60. So I'm really happy with the way that the steering feels. It could use a little more feedback. Obviously, the old Z was a little better. You know what, Rob? Let's go ahead and try it one more time, just because we can.
Yes.
All right. Launch control, build the boost. Nice. 4.03 there. That's pretty quick. That is impressive. I think the last Supra that I tested was right around that time. Remember, this car competes head-on with the Supra. You could also compare it to a Porsche Cayman. But that's a really nice time. I am very impressed with the performance. This 9-speed auto is clearly going to be the faster option. I suspect the manual is going to be almost a second slower. It's going to depend based on how you shift. The launch of that, you have to kind of get the launch right, although the manual does come with a launch control feature where you can adjust the revs. This doesn't actually let you adjust the revs. It settles at around 2,300 RPM, and then you basically just let go of the brake with your foot straight to the floor. It'll do the shifting for you. So very effective. This engine also has a ton of power. I mean, the torque in this motor, 400 horsepower, and that's standard. I mean, that is a crap ton of power for the money. Remember, this car starts at under $40,000. And it's going to put vehicles like the Supra to shame because you have to spend more to get the 6-cylinder Supra. This feels just as powerful as the last Supra that I drove. And if you're coming from something like a Toyota GR86 or the BRZ, the new one, I mean, those are going to just feel like slow economy cars in comparison with how much power this new Z gives you. The engine itself also has a nice noise, or note. The lead engineer was saying that you're supposed to call it engine note, not engine noise. But yes, the lead engineer, Tamura-san, he said that you're supposed to call the engine noise engine note because they tuned it that way. This is not an active exhaust. It's kind of like a performance exhaust where Nissan says on this model, they give it more breathing capabilities where if you're above 4,000 RPM, it kind of bypasses some valves that are actuated by pressure, and it almost gives you like a straight pipe feel. This 9-speed also has paddle shifters, so you can kind of take control of the manual itself. The response of the paddle is fine. When you pull it, when you're downshifting, I actually like how quick it is. When you upshift it, it's a little slow. Like I pull the paddle and I have to pull it a second sooner, otherwise it's going to bog as it hits the limiter, but at least it doesn't upshift automatically for me. But the downshift rev matching is nice. Could Nissan have done a dual clutch? Yes, they could, but I think this automatic was a good option because of just how smooth it is, because of the drivability of it. I mean, I just love the way this thing feels with the pull, like the torque. I mean, I had a chance to drive the 370Z before I got into this new one, and this just feels completely different. It's got great steering, it's got a good ride quality, it's got decent visibility, much better versus the Supra, but there are times where I'm looking around, the D-pillar is pretty thick, so you kind of have to get used to that. And this car even comes with a driver assist features like adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring. That's standard even on the manual model, which is fantastic. Come on. It was pretty aggressive in cutting the power. I had the traction control on because I'm still kind of getting used to the dynamics of this car. Nissan clearly has tuned it for more of tail-happy shenanigans, which I expected them to do for a vehicle like this. This car, it doesn't have a drift mode in the drive modes, but it doesn't really need it. All you have to do is turn off the traction control, let the back end step out, just give it maximum throttle. It'll easily let the tail break free. These 275 width tires on Bridgestone Potenza US 007s struggle a little for grip. I think this car would be even stickier if you put Pilot Sport 4S's or some of those R compound race tires. Would definitely give this car more traction, obviously. But I have to say, this Z out on this curvy road out in the desert with the automatic is a surprisingly good option. Nissan says the take rate, they expect it to be a 40-60. They expect 60% to take the automatic. And honestly, if you do take the automatic, don't feel embarrassed. It's a great transmission. It offers good manual control. It offers launch control. It offers 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. And it's quick, but you know what? We're going to take this out on the track. We're also going to hop into the manual model and see if I actually end up liking this car more with the stick or with the automatic. So now we've switched over from the 9-speed automatic to the 6-speed manual transmission. While I was impressed with the 9-speed, it's a great option. This is the transmission that every enthusiast is salivating for because Nissan did it right. They're offering a choice and there's a no-cost option between the two. So this manual that we're driving also includes a carbon fiber drive shaft. It has a mechanical limited slip differential, and it also includes a launch assist feature, which let's go ahead and see what we can get 0 to 60 wise since we got 4 seconds in the automatic. So clutch in. That was bad. 5.75 seconds, but that was horrible. And this car also includes power on shift. So I technically don't need to shift when I'm going from first to second or second to third. So let's go ahead and see if we can do what we can do again, because this car obviously I think can do better than that. I don't expect this car to be as fast as the 4 seconds with the automatic, but I'd say this car should be able to break into the 4-second barrier. So let's try it one more time here.
Don't need to lift, you definitely need to shift.
Yes, yes.
See, there it is. Oh, no! You and your electric car.
Pre-production.
But
5.14. Okay. My bad. Sorry, car. I need a little more practice. It actually didn't go into third there properly, and I was like, oh.
No, really, you just missed the gear.
I missed the gear, yeah. I crunched. Well, at least it didn't have a crunch, but 5.14. That was actually going slightly uphill. So yeah, this could probably do better than that. Which I'll try one more time up here. Hopefully, I don't miss.
Do it soon though, because you're gonna start going uphill here.
Oh yeah. 5.17.
So did it hit 60 before?
It did hit 60 in second gear,
Yeah.
which is good. It literally got to 61 and then I shifted. So that's not bad. Now, obviously, the manual is not going to be the faster option, but the no lift shift feature, which they call it power on shift, that's a GM terminology, it does work well. The launch control, you can adjust the revs, but I couldn't find the ability to adjust it. Nissan says you can do it kind of on the fly, but it wasn't giving me the option to do it. So it was kind of settling the revs around 3, and then you kind of have to slowly sidestep the clutch. The first time I totally dumped it, and that was terrible. But in terms of just driving the manual out on the road, this is where this car is going to shine as an enthusiast, because you want that control. The manual transmission is very Nissan. It has a lot of vibration coming through the shifter and through the pedals. This VQ motor gets a little rough at the high RPMs. I didn't notice that as much in the automatic. Definitely feel it in the manual. The manual also includes the auto rev matching, which is nice. All the shift lights are also great. You can adjust that. But this car just has so much pull. It sounds good too. Lots of mid-range torque. Yeah, the manual may not be as fast, but I do like the manual. It is a wonderful option. This does get worse gas mileage, but I think if you buy the manual, you're not going to really care. But I think the vibrations that I feel through the shifter, I'd probably get used to that, although it does feel a little unrefined for me. I'm torn because I love a good manual, but I also think that the 9-speed automatic shouldn't be discredited. It's also a good option. So yes, if you want faster performance, go for the automatic, but if you want that more mechanical feel, the visceral feel, obviously go with the manual. And the best thing is Nissan gives you the choice, but you don't have to pay extra for either of them because the car is the same price.
Still not there, but okay, under 5.
So Rob was able to break it under 5 with the manual. Good job, Rob.
Thanks. Better than the 20 seconds I got last time.
So here we are in the new Z, the automatic model. It does have launch control, so let's go ahead and see what I can get 0 to 60 wise. Pull both paddles simultaneously, left foot on brake. Launch control, it'll hold the revs around 2300. Oh, shit. All right, that run I got 4.47 seconds, which that had a lot of wheel spin. The tail definitely liked to step out a little bit. Now, I suspect this car could do faster, but that was fun. I actually got into the 370Z first with a manual, and this feels significantly faster. I'm gonna actually hop into the manual after this, but this is their new 9-speed auto. This is a Nissan design transmission. Holy crap, this thing, it has some power and it sounds good and it feels good. So I got 4.47 seconds in the automatic. That was just one run. I'm gonna see if I can try to do another run later, but now Nissan wanted me to switch into the 6-speed manual. This is the base version of the Z. This is the one that cost under $40,000, just under $40,000. It does have a launch assist mode, but we are missing a limited slip differential. So limited slip differential definitely would help put the power down better, but we're gonna go and see what we can get 0 to 60 wise in this car. Now, again, it's got the 6-speed manual. This is a rear drive vehicle, and I was a little rushed earlier while trying to launch in this, but we'll go ahead and we'll switch the traction control off while I wait for my editor to get to the end of the track, and let's go ahead and try this. Okay, God, okay. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'll try another run there. Maybe I'm gonna leave the traction control on. 5.8 seconds there, but whoo. This car has a lot more power than the base Z, or than the old Z with its naturally aspirated engine. The extra torque definitely gets the chassis a little unsettled in this car, so we'll just leave the traction control on. Thankfully, I'm on this closed track. It definitely likes to get a little squirmy. Because I wanna see, this car could definitely do better if I get a better launch. So a brand new Nissan Z sports car doesn't come around very often, and to show us the full capabilities of this vehicle, Nissan has... So a new Z sports car doesn't come around very often. Guess I'll have to wait until he's done talking.
Pick back up our eyes here, we're looking hard on the brake, down the 3rd gear.
I've been in 3rd the whole time.
Corner.
So a new Z doesn't come around very often, and to show off the performance capabilities of this car, Nissan has brought me out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway on this track to see what the Z is like. I'm in the manual transmission model with the performance package, which means we have that limited slip diff, we have the automatic rev matching, we have these stickier summer tires. Ooh, this thing...
Straight line, look ahead as you turn in.
The noise this car makes, and all of that torque.
That wheel and squeeze power on the exit.
So much torque, so much grip, so much visceral enjoyment. And you also have that power on shift, so I don't even have to lift off on the throttle when I shift gears.
To balance out the back of the car.
And with the rev matching, it just makes track driving with a stick a lot easier, which I like.
Braking at about 3.
You can feel the suspension has a really nice firm feel, nice planted feel. The body rigidity of this car is up by 25%, and you really notice that compared to the previous generation. The back also shows a little bit of rotation there. Just a little bit of understeer there as well, but really great cornering grip. The steering in this car also is a new electric power steering assist. It's not that horrible drive-by-wire system that we get in the Q60. And I have to say, Nissan has tuned it well. It could use a little more feedback.
Down to the apex, then unwind that wheel, just gradually squeeze more power and grab 4th gear once you're straight. I love that power on shift feature. Got up to 100 there. This thing has so much pull. It's just crazy. Look all the way up towards the speedway to the right.
Right out of the box though, this thing is track ready. And the Nismo brakes that they put on this car really do a great job of giving you that confident feel that you're looking for out here when you reach these higher speeds. But I'm just impressed. Even though this car doesn't have an active exhaust, I like the noise that this engine is making. But yeah, if you're looking for a sports car you can daily drive and also take it to the track for stuff like this, the new Z is definitely going to fit that bill quite nicely. when Nissan first showed us the all-new Z car last year, I was simply blown away with the amount of performance, technology, comfort, and affordability that Nissan was promising with this new Z. And after spending the day driving this vehicle out on the road and out on the track, this car lived up to my expectations. The 0 to 60 performance in 4 seconds is simply breathtaking. I mean, with the 9-speed auto, I understand obviously that is not the enthusiast choice. It is the quicker option. The manual transmission is also a wonderful choice. The fact that Nissan offers a stick shift also makes it even more appealing. This particular one that I'm showing you here in the performance trim, I think is the sweet spot, because with the upgrades like the mechanical limited slip diff, the forged wheels, the upgraded interior, the upgraded body kit, just the overall look of this car really is going to stand out. In fact, every time I see this out on the road, I couldn't help but do a double take. Really, this car and the GR Supra are one of the best new Japanese sports car bargains that you can buy, although those of you who like to hate on the Supra can argue that this car is actually Japanese as opposed to the Toyota, which is built off of a BMW platform. That leaves us, of course, with the big question, the million-dollar question. What is the new Z going to cost? I mentioned earlier this car is going to start at under $40,000 because the base sport trim with a manual transmission or an automatic, there's no charge between the transmissions, starts at $39,995. That's before a $1,025 destination charge, so you're just over 41 grand if you guys go for the base version. This performance trim includes a lot of upgrades, and it's about $10,000 extra, so $49,995 plus destination. So this one here, plus extra for this blue color, is probably going to be around $52,000. If you guys want to go for that proto spec model, which looks exactly like the concept that they showed almost 2 years ago, that car is going to be around $53,000. However, it is exclusive. It's the launch model. Nissan will only build 240 of them for the US market. So really low $50,000 range for the performance trim, or under $40,000 if you guys want for the base version. That's kind of a blank slate for enthusiasts, because remember, this car's platform has been around for a long time, but now we have the interior and the tech features and new styling that really brings this up to the 21st century. And it's really great for those of you who are considering a GR Supra. You need to be sure to put this at the top of your list, because if you want the Toyota, it's going to cost you around $52,000 for the 6-cylinder. The 4-cylinder is around $43,000, but the base C is a huge bargain because you have like 150 more horsepower versus a Supra. And for those of you who are coming from a Toyota 86 or a Subaru BRZ, this is about $10,000 more, but with 400 horsepower and all this additional performance and capabilities, I'd argue that this is the car that a lot of Toyota and Subaru owners of that vehicle may be trading into. And also just keep in mind, Nissan was supposed to be launching this car in the spring. However, due to the supply chain issues, Nissan is now saying this car will be going on sale at your local Nissan dealership by later this summer. With all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Nissan Z. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.